Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Friday's edition of SafeDefend Facebook Live. Joined again by our good friend Jeff Green. Jeff, good morning, brother.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
We saw a video this morning on loyalty and commitment, and our new favorite guy in the whole world's name is Tanner.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a TikTok, and he had his mom's back. That's for sure, man. You can't buy loyalty like that. That has to be earned.
Well, it's funny. These TikToks going around where the parent makes believe with their kids, say, "Hey, I've got to go down the street and fight this person. They got a kid about your age. I might need you to fight him." To see the kid's reaction, Tanner was all in.
Tanner's all in. Whatever mom needs, man.
He was ready to roll with mom.
Right.
He didn't care what the deal was. Hey, brother, interesting. Continuum. Of course, a lot of additional information continues to come out of with the obviously tragic and unfortunate tragedy in Uvalde. Some more interesting developments this week, surrounding one of the administrators, site principal there. Man, these administrators, are they not in impossible situations? I mean, just impossible situations.
Well, and no matter where you are, I mean, these kind of tragedies, it's a no-win for anybody, and everything you do is going to absolutely be very critically examined. And we saw some pretty major breakdowns, all the way through this process. But you certainly, as an administrator sitting there, you certainly don't want to second guess. But we see some things that really would have helped, if they would have been in place ahead of time. Three of the things, or quite a few of the things that stick out, honestly, is, they were relying on an app that didn't work. They had information and indication from everything I've seen so far, that there was about 3 minutes that he was in the area shooting. He was shooting into the school. And no lockdown occurred until, honestly, a PE teacher actually reached out and said, "Hey, I've got some guy jumping over the fence heading right for our door." That's when they finally locked down that building. So there was quite a bit of time that a lockdown process could have been put in place. They had a massive failure from their app that they were relying on. And then it came down to some training issues because the principal was afraid to make an all-call lockdown because she didn't want to alert the bad guy as well. And so, obviously the training element had been missing for them, because that is just not best practice. And, when you really, like you mentioned earlier, it's easy to be the Monday morning quarterback, but when you really reflect back on this, there's so many things that are available to be put in place that, any one of those could have made a difference at least.
Well, and I think, you talked about the apps, right? And there's an app for everything, including this. Specifically said, there were some real challenges because of the app, and some of the shortfalls that tend to occur with a standalone app as the sole solution.
Right.
We believe there's a place for apps, right?
Yeah, there's a great communication tool, but they're not an emergency response tool.
Right? Correct. And so, so let's do this if you think if this makes sense. So if SafeDefend was in Uvalde building, okay, let's just say they were, knowing how it says SafeDefend systems hardwired, and the immediate notification to local authorities, that just everything that happens, the immediate notification to lockdown and shutdown. Again, Monday morning quarterback, but I'm just telling you, we've drilled this, we've seen this, but that building's shut down.
Right. Absolutely, 100%.
That person does not get in that building.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we see value in SafeDefend, and again, like you said, Monday morning quarterback. But what we're really seeing over and over again is just notification alone is not enough.
Right.
And so, there's so many places that this broke down. But if law enforcement could have contacted the school and said, "Hey, we've got somebody in your area that we're confronting, lock your building down." If any of those staff members that witnessed him, including the teacher that shut the door, they talked about a teacher that had propped the door open. That's how he got in. That actually ended up not being the case. She actually ended up seeing him and closed the door. If she could have put the building in lockdown right at that moment. If the PE teacher who ended up calling over the radio saying, "Hey, I see somebody jumping a fence with a gun and shooting at our building," could have put the building in lockdown. We're talking minutes that they could have, even if they had lock issues or challenges, where they could have been barricading behind the door, where they could have been prepped. We're talking literally 3, 4, even potentially 5 minutes of notification and the ability to start implementing their plan well ahead of time. I tell you what, that guy comes in and he starts rattling doors, even if a door lock's not effective. And he's also all of a sudden got 10 desks that have been thrown up against that door. That teacher is prepared, ready to respond. God forbid that guy comes into their classroom. Without a doubt, I'm not trying to minimize the impact on these families, but without a doubt, SafeDefend would have saved lives.
There's no question. We've went through this, and that's the whole thing too. I mean, I don't. This isn't the real tragedy is the loss of lives in these families that's lives have been forever altered.
Right.
I include that with the all the survivors inside the building, the adults, the folks that in their own minds are sitting back now looking back and doing the what if game, which is a dangerous game to play when you're in that situation.
Right. Well,
but we're also at a place, Jeff, though, where we cannot afford anymore to not have honest conversations, not pointing blame, not putting blame, not assigning blame, but to say, okay, this is what happened. What could we have done differently? This is what happened. How could we,
if we're not willing to have those conversations, then we're not willing to learn from these tragedies and
not willing to fix
these lives lost. These lives lost become even more tragic and wasted than they already are. Because if we can't make a difference and learn from these tragedies, then we're just going to see this cycle just continue over and over again. And again, I go back to that original point. Notification is not enough. It absolutely is a starting point, but Uvalde is an excellent example. Parkland is another excellent example where if staff would have had not only been locked down, kept kids out of the hallway, building cleared, not necessarily cleared, but in staff and students in safe locations and then barricaded, and have that ability to respond and manage a crisis, trauma response, protect that threshold, all of these aspects. It's a different result. 100% it's a different result. And we're still relying in so many cases on solutions that only notify a building and most of them not necessarily reliably notify.
Right.
And we're seeing systems where, hey, this is part of your daily use, but if there's an emergency, you lock down.
Use that too.
And and we're crossing over into territory where what's an everyday need versus what is an actual life-threatening emergency, and when do I hit it, when do I don't? How often is this going to have false alarms? How often is this notification are we going to rely on a wireless solution? All of these factors come into play. It just comes down to, this is really I don't want to say a simple solution, but there is absolutely key points that you need to have. You need to have a network-based system. You need to have notification that goes out to all that need to know in seconds. And you need to have that ability to manage, respond, and be trained to stay alive until help arrives.
Yeah, I think those are the things that, and again, I think a lot of this begins, Jeff, with what we're doing right now, having the conversations about how do we get better,
right?
Not being concerned about, are you offending somebody? Is somebody going to be, we're past that. We're having, it seems like we're having mass shootings every other day.
Well, we're at 27 school shootings for the year. The highest year on record was last year, 2021, with 34, and we're only halfway through the 2022 year. As we're heading into this, and we're almost at the 2021 level, which is the highest ever recorded for school shootings.
just absolutely an unbelievable. It's just unreal. I mean, I don't know. You know, I just it's just unreal, and we've got to come together as communities. We've got to come together as law enforcement officials. We've got to come together as school leaders, classroom teachers, site principals, you know, at district-wide administration, and community members have got to come together and start demanding better solutions. And what I mean that is demanding it of themselves. They're in control of this, and it's just but even then, you know, we see this all the time where when given a chance, sometimes, and I think we're starting to see a paradigm shift, right? But
Yeah, absolutely.
sometimes people take what they think is the easy path to what they perceive as a solution, even if it's not a real solution. Even if it's just, you
it's
know,
it's that legacy of saving a few dollars or saving a life. And
yeah.
you know, this is providing an effective solution and response to the worst case scenario, which by far most staff members will never go through it, but the ones that are going through it and the communities that it affects, it's absolutely, I mean, changes that community for the rest of their lives. This is the biggest decision that a school board, that a superintendent, that a community is probably ever going to have to make the rest of their lives. This is
no doubt.
This is now we're beyond the football field, making it look great and a showcase. We're beyond the new school or the bond issue to build new high schools to make it a fantastic showpiece for the district. Those are still important decisions, but we are now at a juncture where life safety is the most critical decision the school board and the superintendent have to face right now in this time in history. And it's never been more important. We've talked about it over and over again. Every school district in the country is going to do something. You know, so how do you want to be remembered? By spending a few extra dollars and doing something that's going to make a difference, or doing something that feels good?
Well, you know, we know, obviously, we talk to a lot of people in the school business. We talk to a lot of people who aren't in the school business, and it's became a big subject outside of schools. You know, the
Absolutely.
schools, as we've said, are, you know, they're the ones that get all that. But, you know, this is an epidemic in private business, public buildings, private buildings, school buildings. It's everywhere, unfortunately. It's going to take a collective effort from good people to do everything we can to mitigate and, you know, the potential of that type of harm occurring in our personal communities. Jeff, I'm going to give you last word today. What are give us a pearl that we can take out there today to make our besides go get Tanner. Let's get a pearl. Let's get a pearl out there for everybody. Something they can do today to make your building safer. What would that be?
Well, you know, absolutely. It's making a decision based on effectiveness rather than based on financial impact. And don't get me wrong, you know, we understand that there's a limited amount of money available. There's a limited budget available. But when it comes down to it, you know, having a solution like SafeDefend that is absolutely going to make a difference in this type of environment is not going to cost you more than it is to put door locks on every single door. And
right.
The return you're going to get for the rest of your life from the security that parents are going to feel sending their kids to school, the comfort that teachers are going to have knowing that they have the ability to respond and you know, feel and be safe in their classroom, and that ability to know that as a superintendent, you've made the best choice you can make to protect your kids and your staff. And you know, that's the legacy that our clients currently are living and espousing and talking about, that this was the best decision they've ever made.
Yeah, I tell you, it's crazy times. Again, I can't thank you and your staff enough. I know you guys are working so hard right now. You've got an unbelievable amount of people reaching out to SafeDefend, and it's insanity right now at SafeDefend. But it's, you know, that's why we do this, right? That's why you started this company. That's why everybody gets up every day at SafeDefend and goes out and works, is to make people safer. And to get them home at night, back to their families. So we appreciate
100%.
everything you guys are doing. Appreciate everything you're doing. If you guys want to get a hold of Jeff, it's jeff@safedefend.com. Jeff, give them your phone number.
913-856-2800. Just give us a call, www.safedefend.com, or email at info@safedefend.com. We will absolutely respond and get to you quickly.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it, Jeff. We'll look forward to having you all back here next week. And again, everybody go find them a tanner. Everybody needs a tanner in life.
That's right.
Everybody needs a tanner in life.
Absolutely. He's got your back.
Brother. He does have your back. Loves that mama. All right, buddy. Hey,
Take
have
care.
a great week. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.